Hi, and you're very welcome back to the Leitrim Daily YouTube channel. Now, we haven't been very active on the show over the last few months because, well, there's been very little to talk about. But one of the things that has been brought to our attention is a little success story out of Drumkeerin. And I'm joined by 15-year-old Amy Bohan, who's a transition year student in Lough Allen College, to tell us all about her own little aspiring business. Amy, you're very welcome to the program.
Hi, Breifne. Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. Now, it's been a story that's kind of as old as time itself. A youngster has an idea, puts it on the internet, and it just takes off. Tell us a little bit about Amy's shop, Amy's store.
So I source vintage clothes from all over the world, and I sell them on an app called Depop, and I have 21,000 followers, so it's been quite successful so far.
21,000, that's nearly as many people that live in the entire county. That's phenomenal. First of all, where did you get the idea from?
So during the summer, I started reworking some of my own clothes, and I thought I'd look a bit more into it because I saw like a market there. People like vintage clothes, and they like being sustainable too.
So you don't just buy something and sell it on. You actually make changes to it, modifications to it, little repairs and everything that's required.
Yeah, anything that needs to be repaired, I will repair it before the customer gets it. But some things are more valuable before I rework them, so I leave them as they are.
Okay, well, let's take a little step back from the actual the vintage shop itself. We'll talk about that maybe a bit more detail later on in the chat. Let's go back to the genesis for the whole thing. You're a transition year student. Why would you even think about setting up a mini enterprise yourself?
Well, with all of our other trips and events cancelled in TY, I thought I'd take this opportunity to make my own business and enter the student enterprise competition. And I have a lot of spare time, so I put a lot of time into my business.
Yeah, the spare time thing, 15 years of age, cooped up at home, can't really see your friends as much as you might like to, your social life very curtailed. Um, what's made you go this direction rather than maybe just kind of sit around the house watching Netflix all day?
Well, I really love fashion, so I decided why not try and make money while doing something I love.
And 21,000 people seem to have agreed with you. In terms of within the school, obviously the Student Enterprise Awards are something that people are familiar with. I had my own little brush with them over 2 decades ago now, and it's a great way to kind of teach people about business, about sales, about all of that sort of stuff, even a little bit of marketing. Are you alone in this? Have you friends involved in the project with you, or did you just say, no, I think I've got the skills to do it myself. I'm going to be my own boss?
No, I'm on my own in this. I felt it was the best way to do it since well, with social distancing and everything, and I'm stuck at home anyways. So.
You say stuck at home. I'm sure your mum would be too happy to hear you. She's stuck with you. In terms of Depop, tell us a bit about the app and how you came across it.
So I always had Depop on my phone. I bought a few things myself, and I was just like I'm always scrolling through Depop, and I saw some really cool vintage things on there, and I thought that I should definitely try and do this myself because I love like everything about Depop and the layout of it and everything.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. We can see it here on the screen beside us, and it's definitely interesting. It lets you really show, and even you can see that things maybe are not quite 100%, and you go in detail in terms of maybe things that people can't come back to you and say, well, you didn't tell me that was frayed. I know I was looking through this earlier, and I saw a couple of examples where you'd zoomed in on maybe little rips or tears that just weren't fixable. And it really adds to, like there, for example, on the screen, you'll see that it really adds to the whole experience. How do you handle everything? Because obviously you can't deliver these to people in person. Does everything go through the post? How did you kind of deal with that situation?
So everything goes through the post. I ship worldwide, so it's the best way for me, and the post office is right beside me, and I use my own packaging and everything. So
what's the hardest part of the job? Is it sourcing the clothes? Because you do everything. So you have to talk me through the whole process. So Where do the clothes magically appear from in your wardrobe that you're going to sell?
I source my clothes from all over the world, usually from wholesalers, and I mainly source my clothes from the UK, so there has been some small issues with Brexit, but we've overcome them.
How have you overcome them? Because established businesses have struggled in that regard. How have you managed to kind of avoid the extra taxes and all the customs situation with Brexit? Have you gone to France and Germany or other countries?
Yeah, I source from some countries in Europe, but I do mainly source from the UK, so there's a small customs charge, but it's not that bad. It doesn't affect my profits. So
How do you find there's that profit word. We're going to come back to that as well. But in terms of how do you find them? Where do you find a wholesaler that's selling vintage clothes?
there's a lot to choose from, but I do have to do a lot of research before I go to a certain wholesaler, because they might not have the types of things I'm looking for, or they mightn't deliver like to Ireland, or there's loads of different problems. But I have two very reliable wholesalers, and I buy from them very often.
So then you've done all the research, you've done all the forms, you've paid the taxes, you've bought the stuff. How does it arrive to you? Just in a big box that you have to go through yourself, or does it come nicely packaged like we'd normally expect from shops?
No, they come compressed together in a plastic bale, so they're very creased, so they all have to be washed and ironed and prepped before I can even think of putting them on my shop.
Okay, so we've done all that. We've spent our day slaving over the dryer and the washer, and we've ironed everything, and now it looks good, and we're ready to sell it. What's next? Because I see you're also the model for the show as well. How do you take the photograph and model at the same?
I have a little thing called a remote shutter, so I press the button whenever I'm ready, and it's connected to my phone, so it just takes the picture. And I also take pictures of the tag and the item hanging up, and then I do my descriptions, and then it's ready to be uploaded.
Now, we do a podcast here, and I love this part of it. I love having the conversations, and I even enjoy the editing and stuff, but writing the descriptions is the bane of my life. How do you find that aspect of it?
Yeah, I enjoy like telling the story, if there's any story behind the item, like if it's been from some special event or special merchandise that's obviously not available if it's from 20, 30 years ago. And it's important to be honest in my descriptions as well. If there's anything wrong with the item, I tell my customers everything.
And in terms of then people buy it, you have to package it all up nicely and send it off to them wherever in the world they happen to be. Where's the most glamorous place or the most exotic place you've sent stuff to?
I've sent a lot of items to the US, and sometimes I like to look up the place in the US, and there's been a few very nice areas that I've sent to.
Can you remember any off the top of your head?
There was a very nice place in California. I was thinking I'd love to go there sometime.
Yeah, for some reason I could picture you in California, all right, just down on Venice Beach. In terms of the business, let's talk about that side of things, because obviously these aren't cheap to buy these kind of clothes. They're also not cheap to ship around the country. We can see some of the price tags that on the website there. They range from maybe a tenner to 30 to 40 euros, depending on the piece. There must be a fair amount of money coming in here with 21,000 followers, over 100 sales on the site as well. I see on your profile. You must be absolutely rolling in it. You must be the envy of all your friends.
Yeah, I've made quite a lot of money now at this stage. At the start, it was very slow, but I was able to pick it up quite quickly.
In terms of the whole project, though, is this something you've done for transition year? Can you see yourself continuing it on? Will it replace the need to get a part-time job in your later teenage years?
Well, I initially started with the intention of just doing it for a student enterprise, but I will definitely be continuing with it, as it has been, well, in my opinion, it has been very successful.
Like 21,000 people would definitely agree with you. In terms of, I suppose, the amount of time it takes up during the week, because everything you've said there, from the photographs to to the washing and cleaning to the research and all of that sort of stuff, it just seems to be so time intensive. How many hours a week is this taking you to kind of run this business?
I usually spend about 2 hours a day on my business, whether that's reposting items or doing research, pictures, washing, any of that. So around 2 hours a day.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I remember reading not reading, I watched a show on Netflix called Girl Boss, and it was written about a girl who'd done something very similar to
Yeah,
this 5, 6 years ago. I can't
I
remember her name
actually
off the
watched
top of
that
my head,
too.
but it's nasty girl. You shouldn't be watching that. It's definitely too old for 15-year-old. But that's a different story. The concept of it was great. The concept of it was great, and it's great to see it kind of in real life how it works out like that. What is the hopes and dreams? Obviously, you've got the county final of the Student Enterprise Awards. You're representing your school. You're up against all the other business owners, small business owners from around the transition years across the county. Um, I presume you're going in to win. You want to be bringing that title back to Lough Allen College.
I would be hopeful, but it's been a very enjoyable experience, anyways, if I don't win anything.
You feel like you've kind of already won just in the whole project being a major success. Well, I think it's blown me away in terms of the reaction. I hadn't even noticed the 21,000 followers, which is phenomenal. In real terms, though, how valuable is 21,000 followers? Like, if you put up an item, will it sell out in a day or an hour or a week, or does it still need a little bit of time to kind of filter through and people kind of look at it?
My main advantage, if I have a very cool item, it sells very quick, but if it's not that rare, it can take some time, but my followers will see it on their feed. So it kind of boosts my chances of selling quicker.
Yeah, and is it like eBay where people can bid and a really popular item that two people want, they can go to war and you're the beneficiary, or is it just a case of you have to set the price and if once it's gone, it's gone?
So I set the price and people can buy it straight away if they want to, or they can message me for a discount. And I usually price my items so I have space to negotiate.
Don't say
But
that in public. Don't say that in public. Don't let them know that, or everybody will be messaging you now. No, you price it the price. How do you price it? So you work it out how much you really want for it and add a little bit of extra. That's kind of what it is.
yeah, well, I base on the price I've paid. I need to make money, obviously, and I take into consideration my time and how rare the item is. And yeah, I usually put €2 or €3 extra on just, well, it
Yeah.
covers fees as well. So
Absolutely. And in terms, what's been the biggest lesson you've taken from the whole experience? Like, is it the customs issues at the border when you're buying stuff in? Is it the packaging? And maybe it's the management of money and making sure you set the price that you haven't just sold an item and you go, that's great. But then when you come back, you realize, oh, hang on a minute, that's €5 less than I bought it for. What's been the biggest lesson you found over the last couple of months doing this?
definitely making sure I'm always making money, because I don't like, I do enjoy it, but I don't want to be running my business at an expense. And yeah, I'd say the managing money is definitely the biggest lesson I've learned.
And can you see this growing into something that you would continue? I know you've said you're going to keep it on, but maybe if you were you've what 2 years to your leaving cert, and then maybe college after that as well, or probably college after that as well. Will you be kind of? Is this something that could maybe sustain you the whole way through that period of your life and actually help you kind of finance your own college career?
Yeah, I feel that it would definitely help. I will be continuing this for as long as possible, as long as vintage doesn't go out of trend, but I assume it won't, as it's been popular for a long time.
Yeah, there's always something vintage, and you're talking about vintage as Y2K. I was going into nightclubs for Y2K, so I'm. This is not vintage in my world, but it just is just my teenage years back what the girls would have worn in that period. So in 10 years' time, what you wear now will be vintage to someone who's 6 at the moment. So it will always be vintage somewhere. But listen, it's fantastic to chat to you. Thank you very much for coming on, giving us the time and telling us all about your fantastic business idea and the success that it has become. Um, these kind of student enterprise awards, they really are an opportunity for kids to really get out and young adults really to get out and have a look at the world of business it's meant to be a project, but to see it actually grow into something that is this successful from your own bedroom, probably fantastic. So congratulations on your success. The very best luck to you with the various judges. There's been a few people who've helped you along the way. We better not end without giving them a bit of a shout out as well. And I believe there's a teacher or two in the school and a couple of people from the local enterprise office as well that have been involved in mentoring you to this point.
Yes, so Miss Dorr has been a huge help to me. Brian Dolan from the enterprise office and Fab Lab in Manor Hamilton also helped me design my logo.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you to everybody who's been involved. Amy, thank you for joining us today, and the very best luck to you in the county finals next month on April the 7th.
Thank you very much, Breifne.